Are you suicidal? Have you thought about killing yourself, and how so? Those were the first 3 questions on the questionnaire. That scared me right off the bat. And your neck and your back, I think, are directly related to happiness in your life. Like, man, I can't live my life with this kind of pain up my neck, down my arm, my funny bone, my fingers are numb. I can't live like this. I'd go to sleep, I'd wake up every hour, just miserable, and just started making me a little bit depressed, started making me not want to train, started making me like, I didn't really want to leave the house as much. So I talked to you and I come down, and now it's been 2 years. I'm training jiu-jitsu now. I'm back 3 days a week. If I throw my daughter in the air, I can actually look up to try to catch her. Man, my life has changed.
CPI podcast, Josh the Punk Thomson. Long time, brother.
I know, man. It's been shit. You and I have been friends for since 2000. Be very careful. It's been like, I think 2001, 2002. The Half Gracie, BJ Penn era of him coming to AKA.
Yeah.
We kind of met around that time.
I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, when did I first meet you? I don't remember, but probably sometime going over to AKA with Dave.
Yep.
Training over there.
So David came over in like, what, 2003? I think, or 2002. I think he came. Sometime right when he left House. I went over to House earlier and trained in 99 and then in 2000. And I was there with Cameron and with and with Dave. Yeah. And I was only there for like a week. I just couldn't afford it. They go, how it was expensive, for me back then. It was a lot of money.
$250 a month.
Yep, exactly. And so then, and I was living in San Jose too. I'm like, I'm driving up to Mountain View just many times a day. Started training at AKA, and I was already training at AKA, but like doing more of just the kickboxing. And then now,
Bobby Southworth?
Bobby was the guy there. Yep, Bobby was the guy there, and
he was my first real jiu-jitsu instructor. I don't count that Gracie stuff I did before I went to House.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, Bobby was so knowledgeable, and he was, a little bit older. I think by the time I got there, he was like 35, 36. But man, he had so much knowledge, and I think at the time he was just a purple belt or a brown belt. But he was working and teaching me the basics. Obviously, a lot of the guys in those early days, we weren't into the gi. We were all training no gi. When I came from a wrestling background, so I was like, I don't want to wear that bathrobe. I'm not wearing that. And but then I realized that if you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, man, you got to train in a gi. You have to. Even in this day and age, people are like, oh, I don't train that way with all the Gordon Ryan stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, man, you have to train in a gi, especially if you're just learning. So you learn the step-by-step processes of passing guard, of not just throwing the legs to the side, like learning actually how to pass, learning how to hit to these submissions the proper way, control, hip pressure, all that stuff.
The gi slows everything down.
Yep.
I used to hang out a lot with Carlson Gracie Sr. And a couple things he always stuck with me. He said, if no one can hold on to you when you're wearing the gi, how are they going to hold on to you no gi?
Makes a lot of sense.
And then he also said that the problem with modern jiu-jitsu is that people started to develop like 2 different games. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that he told me, he goes, train in the gi, but use all your no gi grips.
Yep.
And that changed up a lot of stuff too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm teaching cause I own jiu-jitsu gyms, I've owned jiu-jitsu gyms. And when I'm teaching kids, I teach them all about should always have a grip, at least one on the pant, one on the collar, one on the sleeve, just so they get used to using their grips, because kids just want to throw things to the side, right? You put a boy and a girl, let's say like you put a 8-year-old and a 9-year-old boy and girl together. The boys can obviously just try to throw the legs to the side, but little girls are out there playing chess while the boys are playing checkers. I mean, they're just controlling the lapels, knee in the middle, like opening guard properly, where the boys are like, oh yes, Doug can read, throw the legs to the side, right? That's how the boys are. But so the girls kill them with technique. When you're teaching somebody that's just coming in jiu-jitsu, I've always felt like you teach them the basics, and you teach them with the grip controls, you teach them body positioning. And then that's just a good foundation. Dave used to teach Jiu-Jitsu 101, just the basics of like trap the arm, bridge the hip, and hands on the lapel, knee in the middle, all the knee in the butt thing. But that translates so well to kids, right? And then just growing the kids from like just wanting to throw the legs to the side or just powering through things to using the technique. And that goes the same way for adults as well. You've got to teach them that way if they want to have a good foundation in jiu-jitsu.
And that's just that's what I always loved about Half Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. I say it all the time. Meat and potatoes, basic jiu-jitsu, but it always, I mean, you're always going to find some guy that's got some new weird thing he might catch you once with. Yeah. But, pressure and tightness and control.
There's a guy that I give tons of credit to for making me like, in the MMA world, he taught me so much watch, based off of his just meat and potatoes game, was Jake Shields.
Oh, Jake.
Training with Jake Shields, like he had the same front headlock, full back, elevator sweep, top position, mount to arm bar. And if he didn't get it, like he would just go, he just had the knee in the middle pass. Like he just had the basic game. But I remember watching him compete against several black belts, like world-class black belts. And he made them look like they were just elementary school kids.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, Jake came to live with me for a little while when I lived in Rio, and we were training at Gracie Baja, and he was a purple belt. And he wasn't doing much gi then, but he just came in and cleaned house.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
People were pissed. You know?
And that's the thing is his style works so well for no gi. I never really trained with him in a gi, just trained with him basically in no gi from training for fights and stuff like that. He'd come to AKA and train, but man, his just basic game, but you couldn't stop it. And he was so methodical about it, slowly pass, slowly put pressure, great shoulder pressure, great positioning with his legs. I mean, I learned a lot from him, and he made me a lot better because I knew if I could get up from underneath him, I could get up from almost anybody. So him and BJ Penn, right? BJ Penn was like, once he got to that 3-corner mount, you just weren't getting him off you. If you got to mount, you're just stuck.
You're never getting him off you, no matter what position you're in.
No, you're just like, you know, and then we were lucky enough at AKA to have Dave Camarillo come in. Yeah. And Dave, man, he just brought a new dynamic with his judo, black belt in judo. His brother was a black belt in judo, just ran in the family. His dad did shit. Like, it was just insane how good their judo was, but everything was transition off of the throw to the submission attack right from the landing. Like, you're midair and he's already attacking the arm midair. You're like, holy shit. Yeah. So those are like, I've been blessed so much to train with so many great people, man. So Leo Vieira.
NorCal, we had a scene, right? Like everybody talks about LA, but like think about, NorCal like really had like a lot of really good guys. We had a good tournament scene. It was a little bit smaller, but we also used to drive down south and wreck shop quite a bit.
But we always had a little chip on our shoulder. We just wanted everyone talked about, because Hoist and all the guys were down and everyone was down in LA area. But no, what about us? Like up top, I mean, we were holding it down. Think about for me, at least I feel, a lot of the best fighters came out of the Bay Area.
There's a
lot.
lot.
Ones that would just grind. Like, I know BJ's not from the Bay Area, but from Hawaii, but he trained in the Bay Area, right, for a long period of time. And then you had Uriah Faber. You had Faber, Gilbert Melendez, Jake Shields, Nick and Nate Diaz. I mean, myself, like Kung Lee, Frank Shamrock. I mean, like, you had Brian Johnson. Let's start with Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson was one of the original ones in the UFC 3. I think he fought Ken Shamrock in that fight. Like, shit, man. There was
Paul Varlins.
Yeah, Paul Varlins. Yeah. San Jose State.
Yeah,
San Jose State football is just a beast. What, was like 400 pounds, 6'6", 400 pounds, just a beast, man. Like, we had such a great run, and right now I think that's what the Bay Area right now is lacking, that Northern California area. They don't have any real huge talent right now coming up. Yeah. So, but it'd be nice to see some.
Yeah, AKA still, they're bringing the talent in from everywhere.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Yes. I mean, they're traveling everywhere though too. Like with Javier, I just talked to him recently, and I was just in New Jersey and New York with Habib and Islam and those guys before Islam's last fight, and I just interviewed them on my show as well. But yeah, Javier, they're traveling from location. Wherever the fighter needs to fight, they do their camp there the last 4 weeks to make sure the fighters are acclimated. So
super smart.
Oh yeah. And then, I think AK's got I think right now, because they're doing so much overseas, but now that Cain Velasquez is out of jail and he's going to be a homestay, like he will run that team. And I don't think you have a better person to run Team AKA. I mean, like, Cain's fucking one of the greatest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, thank God he's out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
finally.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I mean, but talk to me, man. Like, okay, so I have questions for you, though.
Oh, okay, I'm going to get interviewed.
Yes, I have questions for you.
It's supposed to be my podcast, but okay, let's go.
No. Let's do my questions at the end. Let's do my questions.
No, go ahead. Let's go.
Okay. We've known each other for a long time.
Yep.
And I know you've probably told this story 1,000 times. What made you want to take the jump? Like, this is not, you're affecting everyone's life and people's lives and making their lives better. But this is a big jump from being involved in the jiu-jitsu industry.
I didn't used to make people's lives better?
What's that?
So you're saying I didn't used to make people's lives better?
No, you did, but in a lot smaller way.
All right.
Smaller way. jiu-jitsu, gis, OT, like all this, like, but going from a small business to now, this is huge. This,
I mean, 250 employees now. We got, Tijuana's like, where we started, Boston lab, we got Nashville lab coming online, and it's getting wild for sure. And I can't really take credit for it. Ed Clay, Ed.
Ed.
Always been a, superstar genius at whatever he did. And, he just pulled me into it. He was looking for a way to basically save his mom's life and found some treatments that weren't available in America. He and my other business partner, Dedrick, they found the hospital, the one you're at right now. It was closed down, and it had offered a treatment that he had found out about for his mom's rheumatoid arthritis. And, we were doing this leadership class together in Las Vegas, and he said, like, hey, I need to go to TJ. Will you go with me? I said, let's go. I lived in LA, right? We just drove down, ended up meeting the guy. And, at first Ed offered me kind of like a job, help him out down here, and then had an investor fall out, took a second mortgage on my house, rolled it in. I've been here 11 years now. Ever since. So he's really the visionary. He's really the, he got that photographic memory. He's so smart and stuff But for me, this is also kind of like a lot like jiu-jitsu, because or martial arts period, just training is like, I always knew any person that I could pull into the dojo was going to change their life if they stuck with it. Like whatever you're missing in your life, you could find it on the mat. Right? You need some friends. You got a whole group of friends. You need to lose weight. You need to get healthy. You need confidence. Whatever you needed, it was there. And, we know from training all these years, it's like, it just brings such an eclectic group of people, right? You could have a felon training with a cop every single day, right? And it didn't matter.
No.
Lawyers, doctors, Valley, we had all these Silicon Valley coder guys, super rich, guys from Google or Apple, wherever, with guys that were just like bouncers downtown. And, none of that matters, right? You walk in there, you put your gi on or whatever. None of it matters. And so, for me, that was just like a big extension for that, in that I didn't know anything about alternative healthcare. I didn't know anything about integrative medicine. All I knew is that when they reopened the hospital, I got to see Ed's mom come in a wheelchair, leave walking. I started to see these people come in that the U.S. medical system gave up on.
Yeah.
And that they gave them, I always just say, we're giving you one more round to win the fight. Right. And bringing that fighter mindset to healthcare, where you get a team around you, and you're not like looking at, you go back to the old original, fight days before it was MMA, it was Vale Tudo, NHB. It was one style against another style. But very quickly we learned that, you have to open your mind, right? At first it was like all you needed was jiu-jitsu. But that went away pretty quick.
Yeah, it did.
Right?
Yeah, by UFC 3, it was gone pretty much. Those guys were all defending takedowns and
so, having somebody like Ed, who was a very successful MMA fighter himself, then opened at one time the largest gym in America, Nashville MMA. He had like over 1,300 students as a purple belt with 2 Brazilian black belts in the same town.
Wow.
Right? Same city. And then, coaching guys all the way up to the UFC, Shuto champions, coaching all over the world. So he really knew how to make a team. And so, it's when it's your mom, right? How do you put together the best team to make sure your mom lives? And so that's how it, started. I was very close, still am, with his parents. So it was important for me to support him in that. And it just grew. And we always put it as, patience over profits. Right. And then Ed started, with his super brain, like reading all these scientific journals, and then emailing the scientists questions. And they'd be like, nobody reads this stuff. Like, who are you? Like, why, like what?
Yeah.
Then they find out he got a GED. He never went to college. He's just searching all this stuff, learning all this stuff on his own. And so then that started people wanting to come visit the hospital. And then so we started having these PhDs and these scientists, MD Anderson doctors, come to our little tiny hospital in Mexico. And they're just like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, I've never been to a hospital that's run like that. We're like, yeah, well, we don't know how to run a hospital.
Yeah.
We lived in the hospital for like 6 months to make sure everything was going the way it was supposed to go. And so I think that blank slate of the idea of like, we got to heal people's family members, it just resonated really well with people. Like, people want to blame, oh, doctors don't care. People care, right?
Yeah.
It's just the system sometimes doesn't allow them to care. And so all these doctors, all these people started finding a place where like, oh, these guys care. Let me help them. And that level of help that we've gotten has just snowballed and snowballed. And, now we have 16 or 17 world-renowned PhD science. I got Dr. Ali Asadi. Like, everybody's doing peptides. Well, he invented the machine that makes all your peptides.
Wow.
Right? You know what I mean? Dr. Franco Marincola, like, former head of NIH, like one of the most published cancer research just people whose like, accolades are so over my head. So, but for me, my favorite thing is the patients.
Yeah.
And so I just started falling in love with these patients and spending as much time as I could, living in the hospital, breakfast with them, lunch with them. And for cancer patients, especially, it's a very lonely road. Mm-hmm. And some people, they have to come alone. Like they got, family. I remember one of our first patients, Lisa, she had to leave her whole family behind. She was like allergic to chemotherapy. She just wanted to live for her 3 kids and her husband. And, came in a wheelchair so full of edema that her skin had stretch marks on it. You couldn't even really touch her. And she was all alone. Yeah. And I was like, damn, you know what I mean? So like we became besties, right? And just watching her like transform and like get her life back and just, seeing her, get to live, get that one more round to win the fight, and she won.
Yeah.
And so, the MMA world was changing. The recession killed most of my stores, and then Amazon killed the rest of the stores. I still had the manufacturing business, didn't really get along with my partner on that. We just saw different ways of how business should be done. And, so I was just like, I'm in.
Yeah. You're the passion that you were talking about right now. I mean, I don't know if I told you this yesterday, but I was talking with a couple of the employees. And I was like, yeah, I just wanted to, because they were here last time I was here, and I was here 2 years ago. And we were having a conversation. Hey, nice to see you again. Great. I'm glad you're back. And, it took me a while to get my follow up, and, here we are. But I said, how do you guys enjoy it? Like, what's changed? I go, because obviously when I was here 2 years ago, we were at the other location.
Yep.
And none of this was built out. I mean, it is beautiful. You've done a great job. You and Ed and everyone else. You guys have all done a fantastic job. But the employees that were here 2 years ago, which is very rare to see, they're still here. And the conversation I had with them, as I said, because I was here last time and I left the day you had your Christmas party. Oh, yeah. And you were like, yeah, stay. And I was like, man, my wife will kill me. I got to get home. I've been gone all week. But you're like, yeah, just stay. It's a great time. But then I saw the images and the pictures the next day you guys had put all up about the Christmas party. And they were having a blast. And then the conversation I was having with the employees yesterday, they said that you're amazing to work for, that the company treats you, you guys treat them really well. They love being here and everything. And they have the group that you guys have built. They all love working for each other. And they were even saying like, when someone doesn't fit the mold and they get hired, they're like, we kind of say like, hey, I don't know if this guy's going to work out or this girl's going to work out, because we have a family. This is a family. Like, we've done this for the last 2, 3, 4 years. Like, we're feeling great about it. Whereas they don't fit in. You guys have built a great camaraderie or family atmosphere for your employees. And it shows.
I feel like they're family to me. Mm-hmm. We go through some hard stuff together, right? It's a hospital. People die there, and you get close to the patients, and it's tough, So we got to lean on each other. And my staff is out. They're best in the world. They're amazing. And again, I credit back to Ed, Dedrick. If you're in a fight camp and you got one guy that's there is trying to hurt the guy that's trying to fight, right? Yeah. Like, everybody's gonna be like, get this dude out. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. If your coaches don't get along and you can't agree on a strategy or a plan, how are you going to go win? Mm-hmm. And so it's, that's the best thing about like at least when we were training and like growing up fighting and stuff like that, I feel like our everything was so small in the community. We were really, for the most part, about helping. It didn't matter like, oh, you're from this team, I'm from that team. It was just like, everybody had that camaraderie, and you learn how to get along with a lot of people, and you learn how to like, play win-win. Like, okay, is this good for you? Yeah, it's good for me. And it's the same thing over there. It's the same thing.
When I was here last, and I talked to you about, the research you guys are doing on cancer and how it affects. And I have a really good long-term friend. He actually came down right after this, but, that I've known since high school. And I went to high school up in, Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And, shortly after he came, and, he's like, it was absolutely amazing, spectacular. It just felt so good. But one of the biggest questions I get from everyone is, how's the facility? It's in Tijuana. Is is it clean? Are the people nice? Is it safe? And I'm like,
do they pick you up on a donkey?
Yeah. I haven't got that one yet, but let's be honest. I mean, that's, I think, a lot of people's concerns that are watching this, and
absolutely,
they're going to, hey, and I have to, so this time around, because the first time I did some videos, this time around, I'm showing your facility, because last time the facility wasn't built out fully yet.
Right.
And so, and I also wasn't as savvy with the social media stuff as I am getting to be now. And so now I'm videoing everything from the shuttle by buses to the conversations we're having with, other people that are here, their experience as well. I'm having a great time, but it just feels safe. It feels clean. It feels good. The employees are absolutely amazing. And you've built something that people need to understand how much work went into this.
No one will ever understand.
And I got to toot your guys' horn, man. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
I'm not just blowing sunshine up your ass. I was concerned myself coming the first time. I was like, I don't know. Is it going to be safe? I don't know. But then we walked over to Lorenzo's, and we had a great dinner. We walked back, felt safe. We walked at night. Like people, everyone was amazing. Everyone was nice. The employees are great. They're making sure they know where you're at. I felt safe. I think that's one of the things I wanted to get out there for everyone that's watching this, was to let them know, we
got a couple over there. Is I think 81 and 78.
Yes,
right. They're out walking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they were they own Harley Davidsons. I think, I believe.
They're younger. I think.
Okay.
But yeah, they own a Harley Davidson dealer in Florida. Different group. I mean, it's like people are like, oh, it's just for young people and athletes. I'm like, no, it's just like some of those older people, like they don't really want to be on video or anything like that.
Yeah.
And everybody, like first time I came to TJ with Ed, I'm like, oh shit, what are we getting ourselves into? Right. Of course, I almost kidnapped in Pakistan, I lived in Brazil, dude. A guy got murdered in the front seat of my car. Right. Man. You know what I mean? My girlfriend's cousin got smashed in the head with a rock for her camera on the beach. Jeez. So died. Right. So I've been to some real dangerous places. Oh, whatever. But I get it, especially like Americans that have never traveled before. You hear all this stuff about Mexico. The cartel is drone bombing, all these things. And it's just, there's bad parts in the U.S. too. If you just pay attention to the bad stuff, you would think that, everybody in Chicago gets shot, all the time. And, people just need to have an open mind. It's great that you share videos like that. I joke around, 11 years, 12 if you count the year opening the hospital, 12 years I've been down here.
Yeah.
Super gringo, right? Mi español no muy bueno, and I've never been kidnapped once, and I've never been beheaded, neither one.
Yeah,
so
I
drive a pretty nice car,
you run a successful business.
I don't hide, you go to around my house, you go to any restaurant, everybody knows me by my first name because I've been going there 10 years. Yeah. I tip good, and I say hi to everybody. I've never had any problems down here. I do understand people's reservations because of what you hear on the news and stuff like that. It's just, I'm sure it exists, but it's nowhere near us. I've never had a patient have a single problem. Cancer patients, sometimes they're here 3 months. Yeah. They go walk around everywhere, live their life, do stuff. And especially where the Hyatt is in the restaurant, everybody speaks English.
Well, right across the street, they're building a Westin. They're not putting a Westin there unless it's a place where everyone's going to want to hang out.
And it's a huge one.
It's huge.
Yeah.
You're going to have an outdoor pool, like an infinity pool over the edge.
Beautiful. A lot of money's, being invested in Mexico and in TJ.
Smart.
Yeah.
It is smart.
I'm buying up every property I can get here.
We chatted yesterday, because this is something that I think as I get older, I don't know if it's just age, but about stem cells for the brain.
Yeah.
And I know that from football players to fighters to boxers to everything, like there's going to be issues for brain damage. What kind of effects or what things are you guys working on that will help? Because I'm not mentioning names, but you know, we've had some fighters that are going through some mental struggles right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of those mental struggles lead to drug addiction.
Yeah.
And then that's what you
Plus
want to
the pain.
Plus the pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I want to try to get ahead of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I was having this conversation with you yesterday. My memory is not what it used to be. That could just be old age. I mean, I'm 48. So it's like that feeling of like, man, am I just getting old? I forget what my fucking
56, homie. I hear you. Yeah.
You know, so, but what are things, I know that you had mentioned, hey, NAD on a weekly basis or every other.
Yeah, NAD plus is really good for the brain. And, as you know, I'm not the doctor or the science guy. So I can only kind of talk about what the PhDs, what's been brought to us.
Yeah.
One of the craziest things for us, Josh, is that, when we first started, other than the people that kind of fell in love with Ed's brain and his passion, most big companies and stuff, nobody wanted to work. You're in TJ? You're what? No. Which one of you is a doctor? What? Oh, no. Delete that email.
Yeah.
Right. We're not answering the phone anymore. Now it's completely reversed, so, Ed and Dedrick and one of our lead PhDs, Diego, they were just in Dubai, meeting with the government out there, meeting with all these people that have come up with all this new equipment, new technology and stuff. And like, how can they support us and be a part of, our team? So, there's definitely some good stuff coming down the pipeline. There's some stem cells in specific that are going to be better. There's different types of stem cells. Like people say stem cells, they think they're all the same. No, they're not all the same.
Because the difference between like if you pull my stem cells from a 48-year-old and spin them, pull them back out and re-inject them into me is I'm not getting the same recovery as if I pulled them from
not even close.
Yeah, from like an umbilical cord or
what
from something else.
They call them day zero cells.
Zero cells, yeah.
So one of the things is we have a very, very prominent stem cell doctor who's coming in. Deal's not signed, so I'm not going to mention his name, but who has a whole different way to apply the stem cells to the brain.
Okay.
It's much safer than going intrathecal up the spinal cord, much less risk, a lot more stem cells getting up in there. It's something probably within the next 6 months we'll be doing. That's our plan. And there's a lot of opportunity. As far as like, dementia and all these other things that we treat, I don't get enough of them. All I could tell people is you have to try it and see. I've had some patients have absolutely amazing results, right? I've had other patients that didn't work at all, but it's not like, you probably, doing 20 shoulders this week, 20 knees, 15 disc injections. And so I'm so confident that it works in talking about that. But I don't get 20 dementia patients a week, right? And there's just all types of different, like how early stage, things like that. So it's coming. It's on our radar. It's in progress. It's not something, one thing is, shout out to BioAccelerator, in Colombia. They've done great stuff for Matt Hughes.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. There's other people that out there that are doing stuff. Some people are doing really great and are very ethical with what they're doing. Other places, not so much.
Yeah.
It's like Ed always says, our biggest competition, we respect and speak highly of the people that we know are being ethical. They're not making claims and they're doing great work. And then you get, I go on Instagram and I see places, stuff that's advertised, stuff that's talked about, and it's just fake. It's
bullshit.
Just it is,
Yeah. The process, I think for if everyone's watching you guys, the process is like you show up, you get the stem cells. Like for me, I did my neck, I did my hip, I did my knee and my wrist the first time I came. And we had a very good conversation about how it doesn't, sometimes it'll work in some areas, sometimes it won't. My right knee went from 30%, I would say probably it's about 90% now. My right hip was probably about 40 to 50%. It's probably about 95% now. My neck though, this is the biggest thing for me was I had to look like this to look up for almost 12, 13 years. I can do this. No problem.
Yeah.
I get a little tiny pinch at the very end, but some of that probably has to do with bone spurs in my neck also.
Could be.
But then ultimately at the very end, like my wrist, I saw really no change. And it just really depends on how it attaches to the tissue from what I understand after talking with the doctor and how it can help regenerate the tissue growth, correct?
Yeah, well, all of that's 100% correct, and just wrist just depends also like what's going on there. Like we do more disc injections than anybody in the world. Mm-hmm. I was the first one to get it. I broke my back wrestling. I can barely walk.
Yeah.
And I'm 100. I feel like, call it 99 because I still got numb spots in the bottom of my foot. My little pinky toe, I still can't bend all the way or feel all the way, but who cares? Right. Like I can do anything that I want.
Yeah.
Now, like best in the world. Like I have no doubt, in saying that we do more than anyone. I got 15 or 18 people here for discs this week. If you follow directions, nothing works for everybody, but dang, it works. I'm more shocked when it doesn't work than, oh, I'm feeling great. I figured, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really good. But everybody's different. It's also, how do you let your body recover? So you have to respond to the cells. And then, one of the things I hear a lot is, so obviously we do a ton of UFC guys, like 3 last week, right?
Yeah.
And, my other patients will see them in a month back on Instagram training all out. And it's like, what they don't understand is like, yeah, but that person is getting paid to beat their body down. You're not.
Yeah.
Right. So what they're looking for is to make sure they can perform to get paid. You don't get paid anything to use your body. So why are you comparing yourself to how they're recovering to, what you're doing? Mm-hmm. And so, they're in better shape, their diet, they got a physical trainer, they got they're going to be listening to their body way better than you are, buddy, most likely.
And fighters know their bodies a lot better. They know how they can work around
all the time. The high level athlete guys, you can't, like, are you going to compare yourself to, some of these 2 NFL guys last month? Mm-hmm. You going to compare your 50-yard dash to theirs?
Right.
How about your bench or, or your squat?
Yeah.
Right. So how are you expecting, you're going to compare your diet to theirs? Like,
yeah. And that was one of the conversations I had with, several of the people we were having dinner with last night. And they were like, hey, so like when, like the 90-day regimen, like we need to follow. I said, you need to follow it.
Yeah.
You need to follow it. They're like, well, were you like, well, I'm just going to lift upper body because I'm just doing my knee. No. Let your body rest. Let it fully recover. What are you in a big hurry for?
Right.
Like spend that time. I was, to be honest.
Like, hey, if you had dual knee surgery, or neck surgery, how quickly would you be back doing anything? Right?
Yeah.
You had some surgeries, haven't you?
Yeah. So I've had a plate in my ankle with 9 screws. I've got several surgeries. Got a wrist surgery. It's the same thing I have with my issue on my other wrist. I've had surgeries on my thumb, shoulder, left shoulders.
Yeah. Which one would you rather do? Have another surgery or chill out after you got your stem cells?
And so for a lot of people, they're just like, what it is it's like when you get your new car, right? You can't wait to get out there and drive it fast. And what they don't understand is that like right now you've got the car, but the body's not on it. Like you just built the frame and the chassis and the engine and the trainer being put in. There's no doors, no fucking gear shift. There's no wiring yet. Like it's got to build itself.
Your Bugatti, but you don't even have your driver's license.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go drive 220 miles an hour. How's that going to work out?
Exactly. So I was trying to explain to them yesterday. I go like, you guys have to. They're like, I don't know if I can do that. Well, then why?
What are you doing?
What is it like?
Well,
all of a sudden you feel like you want to go run 10 miles.
Go by like that. It's not do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I spent 8 months laying on my back after back surgery.
Yeah.
Try
you don't want to be that. Yeah.
Try that. You see, you think, think that's tough. Like at least this, you can get up, walk around, pretty much do it. If you want to go work out, you can.
Yeah.
You might affect your results.
Yeah.
I couldn't, there's no way.
You want to enjoy that moment.
Yeah.
You said something that was funny to me because I was just thinking when you said like how jiu-jitsu can change your life and you can build a new set of friends on the mat and all these things, right? And a felon could train with a cop and it doesn't matter. But right when you said that, I went right to like, if you don't believe that like jiu-jitsu or combat sports can change your life, like think about this. Mark Zuckerberg used to dress like Bill Gates and now he's got a little riz to him, right? He's walking around with the gold chain, the black shirt, box, and he's training jiu-jitsu.
with
and
Dave.
That's ultimately, yeah, exactly. That's ultimately what changed. Like the way he looked, the way he dressed, the way he presented himself, and the way he's kind of reshaped himself on the social media platform. And
well, he probably got some real friends.
Yeah. This is true.
I mean, that guy, I don't know how accurate the movies and all that stuff was about him, but probably, definitely wasn't the cool kid in school.
No, definitely.
And you go train. I guarantee you train at Dave's. There ain't no playing favorites.
No,
you're all getting your ass beat.
Yeah.
That's just the way it was.
One of the things that I learned from Dave is the first time you grapple with someone, you need to smash them as much as you possibly can.
That's how.
Yeah. Yep. Is if you don't smash them, they're going to think that they're better than they are. You let them know from the jump. You tap them 15 times in less than 5 minutes, and that lets them know, okay, now we can train.
Yep.
Okay. We've got that out of the way. Now we can train.
Yep.
And that was one thing I learned from him. There's multiple things I learned from Dave. But I've been blessed, so blessed. I trained with Leo Vieira. I've trained with Dave Camarillo, trained with Bobby Southworth. I've just had a great group of guys that I was able to train with throughout my whole career. Ralph Gracie as well. So, but man, and Jake Shields. But yeah, but that's kind of my interview for you. But like, look, ultimately, all I get is questions when I talk about you on my podcast, when I talk about CPI, when I talk about the results that I've had. And one thing I've always said is I'm not going to fucking beat around the bush. I don't need to. Like my results are, like I said, I'm confident in terms of my neck, my hip, my knee, my wrist, not so much. But that was a conversation I had with the doctor. She's like, I'm letting you know the tissue is so small. Like, I don't know what kind of results you're going to get from here for the wrist. She's like, but you should see good results with how much tissue you have in your knee and your hip and the small little tear in your hip and your neck. She's like, we should see results. And sure enough, man, my life has changed. It's changed so much that I'm here now back, but I'm here to do my back and I'm going to do another little portion of my neck again, because I've also learned that my neck and my back it created happiness throughout the rest of my body. And what I mean by that is when I was having problems with my neck, I had numbness in my 3 fingers, right? For months. Then I went and got an epidural and they shot into the nerve and it took the swelling down. But like literally 6 months later, I started getting numbness again in my pinky and then again in my finger. And ultimately, you and I were talking and you said, come on out. And so I came on out, and it put something in my mind that it just made me feel like I'm so much happier now because I can look up. If I throw my daughter in the air, I can actually look up to try to catch her, versus trying to catch her sideways. Yeah. Little things like that. But what
really probably tweaking your back even more when you catch her sideways.
But what opened my eyes the most is when I went to the doctor and to get the MRI on my neck. The first 3 questions are, when did you start to feel it, was one. But then the next 3 question was, are you suicidal? Have you thought about killing yourself? And how so? Those were the first 3 questions on the questionnaire. And I talked to the doctor, said, that scared me right off the bat, because ultimately I was going through this sense of like, man, I can't live my life with this kind of pain up my neck, down my arm, my funny bone, my fingers are numb. I can't live like this. I'd go to sleep. I'd wake up every hour, just miserable. And sleep is what causes the recovery. It gets your day. Like everything about sleep is so important. And people they can't wrap their head around that. And just started making me a little bit depressed, started making me not want to train, started making me like, I don't really want to leave the house as much. And it's not tough to be like, talk about as a male, not talk about your mental health, but fuck, man, I was going through it at that time. And then seeing that on the questionnaire and then talking to you, like 6 months later, after I got the epidural, it went away. But then 6 months later, I'm going through it again. And I'm like, shit. So I talk to you and I come down, and now it's been 2 years. I was supposed to come back 6 months. Sorry, man. But 2 years later, because I was like, I feel great. I'm training jiu-jitsu now. I mean, I'm not letting guys wrench on my neck, but I'm training jiu-jitsu now, and I'm back 3 days a week doing the process. But that was eye-opening to me to see that doctors knew the 3 questions were like, are you suicidal? Are you this? And your neck and your back, I think, are directly related to happiness in your life. If you can't stand up, it's the pain.
It's pain. Like we go through this all the time with cancer patients, like they're in so much pain. It's unbelievable. And, it was the same for me, man. Like I remember right around a little while before my 50th birthday, I had so much neuropathy and my calf muscle didn't fire, and I would sleep. And in my sleep, my toe would lock cramped like that. And I'd get up in the morning and my foot was on fire. It felt like someone was jabbing ice picks into it. And I'd be like, oh, am I going to have to like have somebody help me get out of bed today? You know, and you just go to that dark place.
Mm-hmm.
And you got kids, right?
Yeah.
So that's an extra reason. I don't have any kids, right? I got a dog. And my dog was awesome. Anybody would have been like, yeah, I'll take your dog. There'll be a list of people fighting over it.
Yeah.
And, it's just tough, man. You can really, like, I really thought like, maybe 55, 60, I'm in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Right.
Because once you get to like, for me, like I'm coming up on 50, you're over 50. We're in this position where we're like, how much more time can we suck out of our life? An enjoyable life. There's a difference. My grandmother just passed. She was 96. But her last 4 or 5 years were fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Like bedridden, just like couldn't keep her head up. Like those are things I don't want to live to that point. Sure, it sounds great. I lived to 96, but you actually really only lived to like 80,
quality of life.
89. Yeah. The quality of life.
I keep coming down here once a year. We'll load you up with stem cells.
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
and people always ask me like, oh, you back training jiu-jitsu? I'm like, hell no. What am I going to prove?
Yeah.
I beat it for 27 years. I wasn't good then, Like,
you're not giving yourself any credit. You're not giving yourself any credit.
Come on.
What a
I'm never good
sandbagger.
like you.
Sandbagger over here.
But
it wasn't your job. Like, it wasn't your direct job, like, to get paid to step inside a cage. There's a difference.
I'll tell you why I never did that shit. Remember Cole Escovedo?
Yes, I do.
I was out at that Indian reservation when he got his whole face smashed in for $500.
Yeah.
And I was like,
him and I were supposed to fight a couple times.
I make like $70,000 a year at my tech job. Like I'm going to quit that for $500 still. And he won by triangle, for $500. I'm like,
nah,
I'll just fight
we
guys.
did it for the love,
I'll just
man.
fight guys in the gym and when I get drunk in the streets, that's a lot easier than what those guys are doing.
We did it for the passion and those early days, man. We did it for the love of just the combat, the competitiveness.
Oh yeah.
We loved it.
But I had that at house every day.
Yeah, yeah, you were fighting for your life on that
every
mat.
day out there.
On that mat, you were fighting for your life, man.
Hey, I had a couple Gracie Challenge matches where people walked in. The first one I remember was an Army Ranger guy who just came from Moffett. Remember Moffett over there?
Yeah.
And this dude was yoked, buzz cut, everything. And that's how I always was. How I was going to pick the smallest guy he thought could whoop that guy's ass. And white belt. Always had to be a white belt, right? The longest time was BJ Penn. Oh, you imagine you came in, your first fight was against 130 pound BJ Penn.
Yeah.
In this like judo gi thing.
Wow.
And, dude, I had to fight, and we were doing the Gracie, it was that whole step in kick thing.
Step in, like lunge kick
take
thing.
down, pass, mount, elbow in the face, choke, jiu-jitsu, yeah, it was just like,
it was such a cult back then.
It was big time, big. I think I said to somebody last night, it's just like, we trained jiu-jitsu to be the bullies.
Yes,
we did not train jiu-jitsu to fight people on the mat, LA pajama tug of war.
No, because let's be honest. Like we were talking stories the other day, but like a story that sticks out to me is, you'd catch guys, trying to fucking hit on girls and touching and grabbing. And all of a sudden you just walk over and be like, hey man, she don't like you, obviously. Stop touching her. And then it turned into this thing. You drag the guy into the corner and just beat the shit out of him, leave him unconscious, go back to the dance floor and start dancing, right? And you're like, hey, maybe you learned your lesson.
On your way.
Right? Yeah. You'd catch guys trying to sell drugs to your underage friends or whatever. And be like, hey, come here, buddy. You beat the shit out of them.
There was that era of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Or just martial arts where if I didn't know you, I could whip your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's pretty much how now you got these guys, like any nerd can whip my ass, right?
Mikey Musumeci.
There you go. Easily.
You're like, holy shit.
Easily. But back then it was like, and it didn't matter, you could have been a wrestler, you could have been a whatever, but if you didn't know submissions, maybe you caught me at a punch and knocked me out on the way in very shot, but you stand-up guys did not know how to defend takedowns, wrestler guys did not know how to defend anything from the guard or any of the chokes and stuff. And I never started any fights, but if somebody wanted to fight,
sure you did.
Wanted to fight, then I guess ultimately, like
What are the next steps now here for CPI? Like the hospital's pretty much getting close to being done, being built out.
Yeah, hospital's done.
Growing.
Yeah. Well, right over here, we got 2 or 3 more. We have genomics lab, a bunch of stuff. So,
by the way, your new MRI machine, thank you.
Yeah, not personally mine, but yeah, okay. That thing is amazing.
Last time it was 3 hours in the MRI machine for my 5 MRIs.
Yeah.
This time did 6. And it only took me an hour, a little over an hour.
The new machine's like 10, 15 minutes a joint. Yeah. And it's way better. Well, wait till you see, we have this new technology where you can pull out each muscle and compare it to like basically the, like an NFL player, how's their tendon? How's this, compared to a hockey player? All this wild. What's the average person, average American, average worldwide? All this, data's super important, right? That's why, as far as I know, we're the only stem cell place in the world that for the last 2 years, you get to come back twice for free, follow up MRIs on me, because we got to, it just goes back to the fight world. How do you prove you're the best?
Yeah.
You get out there and you do it, right? That's the only way to do it is with the data. And our data is awesome, but thanks to the UFC, Rogan, all these guys, CPI is like the most famous, right? Yeah. That's what we're famous for. But TAM Center, what we're doing with cancer and customized genetic testing to customize treatments for cancer patients. Dr. Ali Assadi is working on like custom peptides that can turn cancer on and off, and just all of these next generation of cancer treatments is really what we're working on and where we're going. Fixing your neck, fixing your knee. Man, it's easy, dude. There's 32 patients there this week.
Yeah.
There could be an outlier or two. Most likely they screwed it up. They couldn't stop drinking or something. They're all going to be great, right? I got 35 patients coming Wednesday, tomorrow. I can't promise they're all doing great, but last week they were, the week before that they were. But cancer is just such a crazy disease. And just then after that, once we get cancer going and stuff, the genetic testing, I'm gonna have you do it on Thursday.
Perfect.
Tests on over 27,000 reports on 27,000.
And most genetic testing only does what, like 12 to 15 bars?
A lot less. I don't know what everybody else is doing. There's still some great, I think anyone you do is great. I always talk how great Gary Brecka's is. I learned so much from him. Lots of respect for that guy. But just being able to see, I think my report was like 42 pages long. And you just learn so much on the genetic level about yourself. And stuff all over, you're a frequently move around at night. Yeah. 9 times a night I change body position. It's just stuff like that all the way to, I'm susceptible for 2 types of heart disease, right? With my genetics. Well, sleep is important. I'm always working on that, but even more so now, you were there. I'm like, hey guys, check my blood pressure. What can I do to get ahead of this? Maybe nothing, but placebo is a hell of a drug. You know what I mean? And just knowing that I know about it and I can work on it. So it's like your buddy said, well, I don't want to leave here depressed, knowing that I have something. Yeah. So that's one way to look at it. The other way is, it's like the Super Friends, knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
What if there is something? So, and we just started this genetic testing program. Eventually it'll come down to customized peptide stacks for regular people, for athletes and things like that. We'll be able to ship them from Nashville all over the US. You come down here, you do the genetic testing and everything, do your stem cells, whatever you're doing here. And then we'll be able to ship you specific, eventually supplements, peptides, different stack to, support you on the DNA level and the health, level. So like really taking that, some people call it biohacking, to the next level. But the big step is that, is really, getting this cancer stuff out. Like, Ed's doing a New York Times interview here pretty soon. One of the issues we run into with our cancer program is what we are doing is so advanced. And we are the only place in the world where a lot of it, where you can actually go pay for it and get it, right? You can get on a trial, maybe somewhere, maybe you get the placebo instead of the real thing. It's been hard to explain to the world or to patients or to people, you know, what it is and how it works. That makes sense. It's hard for me, man. I sit in these meetings. I am not that smart, you know, like it's just like, you know, you could say you're good at jiu-jitsu and then you go hang out with Dave.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, I'm not that good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or you go, you know, you train with like Henry Akins, or you train with one of these guys that's just like, right. You know, you're like, yeah, okay. I just tapped out everybody in class. And then you go roll with Dave and get tapped out 15 times in 5 minutes. You're like, God, I suck. You know what I mean? But that's how I feel. But one of the blessings that I've had is like with the doctors and scientists, I can, the same way in training is like, let's talk about Dave, because I love Dave. When I first started training with Dave, right, he had just gotten his blue belt in like 8 classes, right? And he would teach me a move and he'd be like, just throw your hips like this. And I'd be like, bro, my hips don't move like that. What do you mean just like this?
Yeah.
Right?
You're that guy, right? When I would say, hey, put your left foot on the right hip, and you would put your right hand on the right shoulder.
And I'd be like, which ones?
Yes.
Hey, no joke. I'm so bad at left and right. On my airplane dashboard, I put left and right so I can just look up when they tell me. When they're like 10 degrees to the left, I don't have to think about it. I just see left, turn the button 10 times. You know, like knob. But then, you know, over time, like Dave got really good at teaching, right? At first, he was just really good at competing, really good at kicking ass. Bobby was a way better teacher at the beginning. You know what I mean? Bobby left. I didn't train with Bobby as much, but Dave got, you know, that same ability of him being able to learn and do things so fast. And so that's one of the cool things with the scientists that we have here is like, I tell them all the time, I say, hey man, you got to explain this to me so I can understand. So when people ask me questions, I can tell them something, you know? And, you know, I did a podcast with Dr. Asadi, so like one of my favorite doctors that we have here. And he just breaks the genome down and all these things in analogies that are so easy to understand. And
I run to chat GGP, and I go, hey man, explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I do that stuff all the time.
Yeah, I'm just like
I just have beef with ChatGPT because it lies about shit all the time.
What it does, it
talks about stuff about CPI that is like so like I'm like, and then I ask it, where'd you get this information from? And then it's like gives you links, and you're like, CPI isn't in these links at all. Like, what are you talking about? You know.
Just a relationship probably just with stem cells in general. And they're just, and maybe because you look up CPI so much or you talk, I don't know. I also know based off of like how you present the question.
Oh, of course. How you prompt it is how you get the answer.
And how it shapes how it answers you.
Yeah.
So it knows what answer you're kind of looking for. And it goes that direction. I think it also uses your search history.
Kind of like my ex-girlfriend when she wants something.
That's you keep that type of stuff to yourself.
Okay, sorry. Cut that out.
Yeah. Outside of that, man, I mean, like, look, so working on cancer obviously is a top priority, the number one top priority.
Yes.
What other things are like you guys working on that are not as important, but obviously that you feel like will make a huge difference in
stem cell wise, you know,
stem
like
cells wise.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're getting real close to be able to do the direct heart injections, you know, so we're going to be able, you know, heart disease, number one killer. There's some amazing stuff going on with treating the heart, by going direct, putting stem cells, pressurizing the stem cells inside the heart. Super excited about that. Some good stuff with liver. Like I said, the brain treatments. We are probably pretty soon going to bring in a new cartilage cell. So like a cell that's like a pre-cartilage cell to be able to regrow more cartilage, more efficient. So we've been talking to the guys with that. Down the road, looking to do the pancreas injections for diabetes. There's some really amazing stuff going on in Asia with that. So again, we've been lucky enough that we've been able to position ourselves in a way that other places have, mostly in the fact that we're obsessed with the data. So because we are so data driven, for people who have patents or who have like, you know, stuff, you know, to go to some other place that just a clinic, right? It's another thing people don't understand. We're a hospital, right? People are like, hey, I want to go to your clinic. I'm like, it ain't a clinic.
Yeah.
You know, like we treat stage 4 cancer patients here. Like we have to be ready for everything. And, that data driven, thing has really attracted a lot of people to us because everybody wants the data, right? They want to know, like it's one thing to be anecdotal and say, hey, you know, yeah, your knee feels better, right? But that doesn't really mean anything. But when I have MRIs of 1,000 knees before 6 months and 12 months, and I could publish that data so I could get peer reviewed, right? So other people look at it and say, oh yeah, this is legit, it's just like a different level, right?
We were talking last night, and there's obviously stem cells is a huge buzz in terms of health and wellness for a lot of people, but also too, what's really kind of making a comeback, and it's been around for a long time, is peptides. You talked about peptides a lot, but give me the list of peptides that you feel like that people are obviously, they've been around for a long time, that you would say 100% you feel safe with them using. Like everyone says BPC for, I
don't know anything about peptides.
Oh, nothing.
Really, man. Like, I know some stuff about like, what we're doing with cancer and stuff, but, I've done some peptides before. Yeah. Maybe I'm not a responder. Maybe I didn't get good ones. I just never really was like, oh, this is the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm blessed with the fact that like any day I'm at work, I could get as many stem cells as I want. Right. And I'll tell you, like, I don't, people talk about this, Wolverine stack and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, you do your Wolverine stack for 6 months. Let me give somebody stem cells, come back 6 months later. Let's see who really grew more tissue. Right. Let's see who really recovered better.
Cause you go stem cells, you also go NAD plus, you also mix it with the ozone, you take care of with the Myers to keep your body, hydrated, fully with all the nutrients and vitamins. Like that, I will take that over anything else that's out there right now.
I mean, I love NAD. We did it together yesterday. So good for you. That's one thing for the brain. Yeah.
Do it again today together.
I don't have time to do it today, but you can do as much as you want while you're here, buddy. Maybe get a little smarter before you leave.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Can't promise that. Can't promise that after hanging out with me. Yeah. You're probably feeling pretty dumb already. So, I think peptides, they're great. I think, there's a lot of really amazing stuff. Obviously what we're doing with cancer is amazing. I'm so overwhelmed with like what we have here.
Yeah.
That, when we have our peptide facility in Nashville, it's going to be opening soon. But the first stage is taking care of our cancer patient population.
That's smart.
Right. They're the most critical, stuff. So, I know Dr. Ali, he says he's got some peptides that'll improve athletic performance, all these things. He's super excited to come out with and do that stuff. But we got people that are towards the end of their life that we need to, take care of.
Good. I mean, outside of that, man, I'm happy for you. And not to sound like, but I'm very proud, man. Very proud that you're able to accomplish all this along with obviously Ed and your business partners and stuff. But this is fantastic. I think you're doing a great job. And obviously
we're blessed, man. There's been some hard times down here for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that it's, I feel like, we really want to make a difference, right? It's like, how big of a difference can we make? How many lives can we impact? And, we got our veterans programs with people, different foundations that we're working, Miracle Hope, a lot of stuff, them getting veterans in here. And, there's a chance to do a lot more.
Yeah. For me, for all selfish reasons, like that's why I asked you yesterday about the stem cells for the brain, was because, you go back and you look at a lot of professional football players from all the head trauma, the concussions for years and years of playing football. And then you obviously fighters, they're going to definitely have it, some sort of, mental health issues or concussion issues throughout their career. So that's why I was trying to get ahead of it just yesterday, sitting down with you for 2 hours. We talked about it yesterday and just what are the steps, and
just give me like 6 months.
Okay.
I'll have something really good for you.
Just in time to come back for my checkup.
There you go. Yeah. About 6 months.
I'll follow.
I just, I rely on the 16, 17 PhD guys to like dissect there. And Ed's obsessed with this stuff. He's always in it. I let them do the heavy lifting, right? And then when they say this is the best, I say, okay, explain to me the best.
Yeah.
Why is this the best? Why is this what we should, do?
Yeah. The best thing about like that, and that's That comes down to just understanding that, like, hey, I can't solve all the problems myself. I've got to have the smartest people around me as I possibly can to figure it out. Like, I'll use the president as an example. Like, you need to hire the best people you possibly can to accomplish your goal. Or you could say, like, a contractor. I'm not going to, if I don't know how to build a wall, well, I'll hire someone that knows how to build a wall, who's a professional at it, who can frame the house out, can lay the foundation.
I'm all for hiring anybody to do about anything at this point, because my days are just too crazy, man.
Yeah.
They're just too, you got your podcast, you got your gyms, you got your kids. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me this is like, what is the end game for you? What is the end game for CPI? What is the end game for you and Ed? And what's your business partner? Dedrick.
Yeah.
Dedrick. What's your, I met him before. I met him last time I was here.
Yeah.
But what is the end game?
Smart.
What's the end game?
I don't know, dude, to tell you the truth, because, my dad always hits me up. He's like, when are you going to stop working, bro? I know you don't need to work as much as I just can't really. It's kind of like when we were training, right? You know what I mean? It was just kind of like.
Well, I talked to Dominic Cruz last week. You stop working, man, you die.
Yeah.
And everybody I've ever talked to, like, when they stopped doing something, they stopped working and had a purpose, they just went downhill.
I don't know, dude. I don't know what else I would be. It's like, say somebody gave us $1 billion for the company tomorrow. I'd be like, well, can I still work there?
Yeah.
I'm going to miss all my patients. I'll miss my staff. You know what I mean? Like what, I don't, I don't know. I'm sure you'd find something else to do. Right now it's just this cancer thing is so important. I think it's going to make such a huge difference. In my 11 years of working with cancer, of course, not a doctor, not a scientist, but just seeing how the system treats the patient. Mm-hmm. It's awful, right? You're a number and you're on a conveyor belt, and, people, are so uninformed about even, what I just had a friend like call me, and one of her best friends has cancer, and it was just like, diagnosed to like getting put on chemo in like 5 days, right? Like no genetic testing, no, like this is what else is out there. This is just, hey, come in. We're going to just slam you full of chemo. It's the only tool we got in our tool shed. Mm-hmm. So we're going to hit it hard. Could it work? Does it work? It could. I hope it really does for her. But it's just, there's so much out there. There's so many different things that are available. And the world just, it's time to evolve. We got AI now, right?
The problem the problem with chemo, right, is it beats your body down so much that even if it doesn't work, your body's so beat up, you can't try anything else.
Well, there's that too. But one of the things that, we had this doctor down here, Gar Hildebrandt, and he explained it to me, and he said, the goal with cancer treatment is to create a durable remission. And what creates a durable remission is when the body's own immune system clears the last of the cancer. Mm. So chemo is a lot like your big brother is the badass bully in high school and he beats everybody up. But then when he graduates and go to college, your immune system is left there all alone. You're left to fend for yourself, and nobody taught you how to fight. Right. So the better
that's a great
idea for, cancer of treatment is, yes, we got to get as much cancer out as possible. Right. But how do you teach the immune system to recognize the cancer and clear and kill the cancer so it remembers when it comes back? If it comes back, hopefully it never does. But
that's a great analogy there. Like to reference. That makes sense. Like the big brother leaves and you're stuck and you never learned how to fight because you always relied on him.
I mean, chemo is really good at killing some cancer, but you're not teaching the immune system how to fight.
Yeah. But ultimately, it starts to kill the body after a long period of time. The body just doesn't have enough energy to fight anything off anymore.
I've seen some people that are radiated and chemoed so bad. It's terrible. Yeah. It's not like a healthy, good feeling, for the patient.
Because I come from this background as the UFC, you were able to connect with them, a couple of years ago, and working with them. They were obviously, I know you and I were talking yesterday, great partners in this. Fighters have been down here, consistently and constantly down here getting their bodies treated. I mean, everyone from Sean O'Malley to Dominic Cruz to Poetan to other fighters. Like, there's been a lot coming down here. And how did that all come about? How did the relationship with them come about? And
I mean, the relationship with the UFC started before the Fertittas even bought it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
But when when I was at the first event that, Dana and the Fertittas did out in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So I always just worked around it. Ed Soares kind of like brought me in and, worked on Passing the Guard, his TV show. And
it's still kind of like one of those behind the scenes that's always around, like, doing his thing
down here
in the
too.
sport.
Yeah. He's a man, great guy, always supported me with everything I've ever done in my life. So I really appreciate and love Ed. And, I've just known so many people at the UFC, started treating a bunch of the UFC guys and just, opened up the conversation like, hey, we could really help your fighters,
mm-hmm.
right? What can we do together? And that took, cause UFC changed, right? It's not like just like Dana and the crew.
No.
Right. They're owned by somebody else now. Yeah. And so there's a lot of people there that don't know me. So there's they did a lot of due diligence.
Good.
Right. A lot. Like we shared a lot of data, a lot of, legal stuff, doctor stuff, meeting, it didn't happen fast.
Because
a long time.
That's something that I know that I have used before and I can use is that like someone's like, hey, like it's in Tijuana. And I'm like, look, they were partnered with the UFC. You think the UFC, a multi-billion-dollar company, is not going to do research on them? You're not getting scammed there. You're going to be safe. They can't afford to send their fighters there and be like, oh yeah, someone got hurt. They have to, everything is safe. And that was one of my conversations with people.
Well, that's another thing. If you're feeling stressed out or worried about coming down to CPI here in TJ, just know there's probably going to be at least one, if not more, UFC fighter guys on the Mercedes Sprinter with you.
Yeah.
Probably not the best one to try to rob or kidnap front.
True.
Yeah. You imagine you like come on the bus, you're trying to like rob somebody.
Right. You got Poetan standing right there.
Poetan stands up like,
yeah. He's like Chama.
Funny story was like, I was driving around with O'Malley and oh my God, I can't remember his coach's name right now.
Tim Welsh.
Tim's the best. I love Tim. And, my truck, the front windows are tinted dark because it's from Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's illegal in Mexico.
Oh.
And so normally if I see a cop, I just roll the front windows down, right? Mm. I didn't see one. And so we got pulled over, right? And I'm like, oh God. They're like, okay, roll all the windows down, right? We roll all the windows down. And then the cop's like, asking me a bunch of questions. I'm giving him my ID, everything. Shines this light in the back seat. And there's O'Malley. And he goes, Sean O'Malley? Sean's like, yeah, man, what's up, dude? He's like, he's just freaking out. Like, they literally stopped traffic in the middle of the road so that Tim and Sean could get out and take selfies with them and everything. Geez. And, gave me all my stuff back. And they're like, are you guys lost? I'm like, no, we're going to this hotel. He's like, let us give you an escort there,
That's great.
So
that's awesome.
I don't know. It's just, Tijuana's not what people think it is.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And it's actually, I came here back in like 97, I think, 96, 97. I came down here. It's definitely changed.
How about all those skyscrapers?
Yeah, not skyscrapers, but a lot of like 3-story houses overlooking,
a lot of nice cars driving around.
Yes, there is.
A lot of nice cars.
We've got to fix the roads a little bit.
I agree, but they're not any worse than LA.
No, they're not.
No. I'll tell you what, every time I go up to LA, I see a lot more poop on the ground than I see here. I see a lot more. I tell people all the time, like, there's no trash on the streets around, like around the Hyatt, around the restaurants, around the hospital. There's no graffiti.
No
one's trying to sell you drugs. No one's like drugged out, stumbling around down street or anything like that.
You'll see me walking down the street with tacos, but that's
see a lot of taco stands.
Taco stands everywhere, on the corners, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
They might come up to your window in traffic and bring you a cold water for $1. Oh darn!
Not mad at that.
Not at all.
Yeah. All right, well, hey man, thanks for joining us for this episode.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Do you have any questions?
One.
Gotcha.
Who the fuck gave you the dumb nickname?
I fucking hate it, man.
You're like the least punk person I ever met my whole life.
Because when I was younger, I was that. I was that. You know what it was I was the guy that would stick my thumb in your ass if you were getting me in a submission.
Oh yeah.
If you had me in a triangle, I'd stick my thumb in there to get out. I did not want to be tapped. I didn't want people to tap. So, you know, if those type of things, if you had me in an arm bar, I'd put my knee on your face.
Yeah.
You know, and try to slowly wiggle it out.
Those were the good moves back in the day.
Those were the good moves.
Those were the good moves, right?
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, it's like, we didn't want the dirty moves. We wanted the filthy moves, right? You know, like, yeah.
Like, it was just, I don't know. When I moved back to San Jose from Idaho, because I was born and raised in San Jose, but I was training with Frank Shamrock. And Frank was one of those guys that he'd tickle you to get out of a triangle. You know, he'd stick his thumb in your ass to get out of a triangle. He'd try and fish hook you, you know, to get out of positions. Like, he didn't care. Like, but we all knew it was a joke.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the way he was. And that carried over into just kind of the way that I trained, the way I had fun with guys. And we had a good group of guys, you know, from BJ Penn to Bobby Southworth. You know, we had Mike Swick, John Fitch. I mean, like Dave Velasquez, Kelly Galante. Yeah.
Guys,
You know, and then we just had a great group, man. We built it from the ground up. One thing I'm very proud of is that, you know, I was one of the original ones at AK. I mean, I was there before BJ was. So it was Brian Johnson, it was Frank Shamrock, it was Bob Cook, Kelly Delon.
Yeah. That name forever.
Bob
He's
Cook.
awesome.
He was my manager my whole career.
Oh, yeah.
I could never leave him, man. He was my guy that we're still best buds to this day, man. He's somebody I can call at any time. If I called and told him, hey man, I need help, he would drive to my house, no problem, within a couple hours. Yeah. And, you know, he lives in Colorado now and yeah, man, him, you know.
Tell that guy I said hi. He was always, you know, the coolest thing about, you know, back in the day, right? We weren't all supposed to train together and shit like that. It was a cult like you talked about. But anytime I went to AK, it was always like, yeah, let's train, you know, like never, like if you showed up at house, you ain't going to get that.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, people are going to be like, kill this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
Hurt this person.
That was kind of my worry because when I went and first thing was, hey, train with Cameron.
Yeah.
And then I had heard all these horror stories about how he hurt you. He was cool. He just smothered me and just like, you know, he Kimura'd me all over the fucking mat because he was physically so.
It was definitely a little bit about how you acted about, you know, cocky, like people came in there with like an attitude. They left humbled. Pain.
Yeah. They left
at a minimum humbled, limping. Maybe they were going to have to use the other hand to wipe for a month or something like that. You know,
because when I went in the first time, I trained with Dave, I trained with Cameron, but they were also I think they were like brown belts or purple belts at the time, I think. Yeah. And then I left and wasn't there anymore. And for years I was training with Frank and Javier Mendez at AK and stuff like that. And Bobby was there and I would train as much as I possibly could. And then, but then when I went back there, Dave had taken me back there and I had trained with Cameron. I was getting ready for, Gerald Strebent, like a good jiu-jitsu guy from Eddie Bravo's. And, he's like, come train with, Cameron. Yeah. Teach you this, teach you that. And then Dave, I was training with Dave a little bit at the time too. So I've just been blessed throughout my jiu-jitsu career, man. I've had great people that they could break it down. Leo Vieira, you know, Dave Camarillo and, Bobby Southworth and Jake Shields, man. Yeah. Those four guys, they helped me in so many different ways. And I owe them a lot of credit for helping me in my game. Cause this is the story that I like to tell people is I was tapping everybody in AK, you know, except for, you know, Frank Shamrock I was struggling with, but I would tap Bob every once in a while. Bob would tap me all the time, but it was all the other guys from Ryan Bowe to Kelly Delante to Dave Velasquez, all the other guys in jiu-jitsu, I would tap all of them, right? Pretty much any. But BJ was training at the fighter training during the day. And they're like, oh, this guy's so good. And I would talk trash. We're like, this guy, he's not that good. I didn't follow jiu-jitsu like everyone else did at the time. And he came in one night and he fucking tapped me 5-6 times in less than 5 minutes. Yeah. It was I kid you not, within like 25 seconds, he was on my back. Too. He was on my back. I was like, fuck, this guy, he's good. Literally, I walked out of that gym that night, you know, and I fucking went to my job the next day. I quit my job, started training full time. Yeah. I was like, if I'm ever going to be good at fighting, like I can't have guys like that who have jiu-jitsu and just fucking. So I started training with him as much as I possibly could, man. And BJ
so much
Frank.
From the Penn brothers. Shit. Everybody talks about BJ, but you can't forget Reagan and JD.
No, JD was probably the one that could have probably been the best fighter out of all of them.
I think Reagan.
Yeah, well, Reagan fought though.
But he never took nothing.
He never took serious, and that was the problem. Yeah. Whereas JD took things serious. Like JD put pressure on himself to be good. Yeah, he was the big brother that had to show everyone that he was good.
Right.
You know, with BJ was just He was so gifted, so blessed. He had heavy hands. Boxing wise, ask Carl Uno, and then he had, his jiu-jitsu, his dexterity, his flexibility.
I've been hit by those heavy hands.
I mean, exactly. I mean, shit. Like
and he was probably being really nice to me too.
Like the guys that we train with. I have another story with BJ. He trained with Rich Crunkleton, good wrestler out of Florida. Came in. Rich was trying to take his head off, and BJ took him down, mounted him, and it was just like punching him. Kind of hard, in mount position, and Rich couldn't get out, and Javier's yelling, and because they're sparring live. Yeah. He's like, BJ, like too hard, man. He's like, no, Jav, he likes to go hard. He likes to go hard. He likes it when you punch hard. And just BJ talking trash, got mount position. You can't get out of his mount, but it was those were the moments that I think a lot of us, we started learning what the hierarchy was. That was one. And two was we started understanding there was levels to the game. Right. There was levels to the striking. There was levels to the cardio, levels to the jiu-jitsu. And it made our team what it was. Think about every fighter that came through AKA. They were all built at AKA. You know what I mean? Frank Shamrock sure would train with his brother at camp, but he didn't become extremely good until he was joined with AKA with Javier. BJ Penn, great jiu-jitsu background, the best in the world, right? But didn't become a great fighter until he started training AKA. And then he went off and did his own thing and had great success also. But there was so many guys that came in, from myself to, but even like other guys like Jake Shills and Gilbert Melendez came and trained at AKA for years, for 2-3 years.
We went there and trained. That was because you open door.
Yeah. Open door policy was
and everyone was
one
cool.
thing.
You could go in there and people weren't going to try to kill you.
Yeah.
And they would be like, do this, do that,
Yeah. So the only one like you always had to be cautious of was was Phil Baroni. Because if he sparred with you, man, he was trying to knock your block off.
I only trained with him at Layman's.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. But his jiu-jitsu, I had better jiu-jitsu.
He owns is he in Nashville?
No, he's in like Michigan or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard he's got a great
couple
facility.
Years back.
He's got a great facility with like
another great teacher.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, him and I had a little beef for a bit, but he seems like a great guy, man.
He is.
I don't have anything bad to say about him. But hey, man, thanks for the interview.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. You made my job ezy. So.
Yeah, I've been trying to shake the name. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually wipe it off my social media.
Oh yeah,
I'm 47 years old, man. I got kids. Like, I want my.
You just didn't seem appropriate.
No, I mean, like I've grown out of it, to be honest.
Yeah,
I enjoy these conversations. I enjoy spending time with people. Like, well, the reason why I still enjoy doing the podcast.
Yeah, you just wonder like how, because nicknames are always something, especially in the gym, right? It's like, you got the people that give themselves a nickname, right? But then you get other people like you just, you earned your nickname, like Gumby, right?
Yeah. Or if I could have given myself, I would have chose the Prodigy. I would have chose something like that. But
hey, I made that one up. I made that one up. So.
Did you make that up?
Yeah, we called him the Prodigy on onthemat.com.
Fuck, you're so good, man. Yeah, so good. So
it was really because the guy from Grappler's Quest came out. He's like, I heard about this guy. He's like a prodigy in jiu-jitsu out here. I'm like, yeah, BJ, the Prodigy, man.
So good, man. Yeah. So good. The ass whooping he put on me the very first time I grappled with him.
I was the first person to train with him at house.
Really?
And he was tiny. And I was like, oh, all right, man, finally. When you're a white belt, you're like, God, finally somebody I can beat up on. Oh, yeah, no.
I
got murdered.
Well, I tell people when they start learning to train jiu-jitsu is that you train for 6 months. And wait till the new guys come in. Yeah. Because they're about to quit. 6 to 8 months in, they're about to quit. They're like, I'm not getting close to my blue belt, like 8 months in. And I'm like, no, you're not getting close to your blue belt, but you're way better than you were when you got here.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm getting better. Everyone's still tapping me. You get a new member and you're like, go train with him.
Yeah.
And now they're like arm-barring, flying triangles. They're out there just making an example out of the person that just walked in. I'm like, that's how much better you are. Think about 99% of the people that walk the streets. You would do the same shit to that person.
Yep.
That's how much better you are just in 6 to 8 months. It's insane. And I think I've always told people also too, like if you have kids that have learning disabilities or are autistic at all, like you need to put them in jiu-jitsu.
Right.
100%. Some of my best
everybody should put their kids in.
I agree with that, but I'm saying some of my best kids, they like I said, they were playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. They picked it up. They learned it. They were so focused on the sport of jiu-jitsu and just learning the techniques. Put your foot on the hip, pull on the collar here, reach inside the leg. They just picked it up. And I think most parents are looking for something that their kids, especially if their kids have a learning disability or are autistic, that they can put them in that where coaches don't get frustrated with them. Jiu-jitsu coaches should understand, like, those kids, like all kids, but they just learn and they want to learn and they are dialed into the details of it all, which makes them so great.
Yeah.
You know, that explains why you were so good at
the
jiu-jitsu.
best. Yeah.
Mikey
or maybe why I
Risavecci-
wasn't that good.
Mikey Risavecci talks about it all the time. He's like, oh yeah, I'm autistic and this and that. And it's great. It's so damn good. It's fun.
Yeah. If you have some type of obsessive compulsive
Yes.
behavior, which I think all of us that get successful at whatever we're doing,
Yep.
you kind of got to have that, you know, I get up 5:36, coffee, right to the computer, like, you know, like I'm down this AI rabbit hole right now and stuff, you know, you got to just get obsessed with it. But all right, buddy, we'll wrap this up, huh?
My man, thank you so much. I appreciate
you, man.
it.
It's always good to see you, man.
Thank you so much for always taking care of me and having me out here. And I just really enjoy it.
It's just an excuse to hang out with a good friend, you know.
Thanks, man.
But you got to plug all your podcasts and stuff here, man.
Yeah, so
For all 500 of my viewers.
So I've got Weighing In podcast, which I used to do with Big John McCarthy. He went back to refereeing, but
no kidding.
he'll be back when he comes back.
Yeah.
He's another one I want to get out here.
Bro,
He's
I've told him 100 times.
I'll tell him to come. Maybe him and I'll come out
he's
together.
scared of TJ. You can tell him I said that. You can say, I heard you're scared to go to TJ.
He probably is. He's probably so you guys can like and subscribe to that channel there. I also got another channel called Bad Takes and another one called Dad Dojo. And if you're interested in being a dad or you are a dad and you have kids, I talk with WWE wrestler Bobby Lashley, AEW wrestler now, and Rich Chow, who was the former matchmaker for Strikeforce, Lead XE, Bellator, and we talk about.
I mean, that's the one. You know, that's a really good podcast for people to check because most of my clients are parents.
Yes.
Right. And the biggest thing I hear, especially from the dads, are I just want to be able to play with my kids.
Yep.
You know, I want to be able to play with I want to be able to throw the baseball. I want whatever it is, you know, to do. And so the parents, jiu-jitsu, dojo, they should definitely check that podcast.
Check it out. We're all available on YouTube and SoundCloud, iTunes, all the other stuff, Spotify.
Awesome.
My man, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for making my job easy today.